Hi and welcome from this portable hide in the mountains of Norway. I'm here to take pictures of the great snipe, and Terje Kolas, a nature photographer from the region of Levanger, is offering these mobile hides for rent, and you can basically book. He will guide you there, and then you can hopefully take pictures of these cool birds. They start with their lacking behavior in the late evening and then basically through the whole night. And since we have mid of June in Norway, it means it will never get completely dark. I should be able to photograph through the whole night, given that the birds show up and I don't fall asleep. And yeah, I wanted to share with you the experience. Maybe you can learn something from the mistakes that I will probably be doing. I'm already a bit afraid that I don't have enough food for 11 hours or up to 12 hours in this hide here. As you can maybe see and hear as well, it's quite rainy and quite windy. According to Terje, this should not be a problem. The birds might even be more active now, but of course it comes with some other challenges. I hope you will still enjoy this video. So Terje told us that the great snipe is not very sensitive to some movements. So within the hide, we can basically open all the windows so that we have a better overview. And I actually just wanted to close that one because obviously it's raining inside. I just wanted to have it open that I have a bit of light for the filming. But now I saw the first great snipe from the inside the tent. I tried to take some pictures, but it's very hidden. So what I will do now is stop talking and hope that it comes a bit to a more elevated position where I can take some pictures. At the moment, it's still a bit far away, so I will take my 600mm f4. But as you can see, I also have the 100 to 300 next to me. I've only been in the hide for like half an hour, 40 minutes now. And it's just crazy. It's an awesome experience. I already saw several snipes around the hide here, displaying, lacking. They don't seem to care at all that I'm here. Maybe you can see that I have the big front door here. This is not the usual setup. Usually you shoot through the windows, but I really like to have this low shooting angle. So I asked Terje if there's something that can be done, and he suggested to just move the hide around, that I have the front door, because then I'm very flexible with the hide. And he said that this would not bother the snipes, and they really don't seem to care at all. So that's great to have this flexibility. You can see that I have my tripod here, but I'm not sure how much I will use it. Maybe if it gets darker. I mean, now it's 8:15. It's still a bit more than 3 hours until sunset. So it will definitely still get darker. And maybe then I will need it. Talking about the gear, we have here the 600mm f4 that I mounted on the R1. So far I was shooting mostly with this one. If I had like parts of the bog in the background, it just gave this smooth greenish background that I really like. But what I would also like to do is, if I shoot more in this direction, I can have the next mountain basically in the background with some small trees. And this could look really cool with the 100 to 300, because the great snipes, I think if they come a little bit closer, it could look really cool with the 100 to 300. But at the moment, there's too much rain and fog, but I still have some time. Otherwise, what do I have here? It's a bog, so it's wet, and these camouflage hide, they don't have a bottom, or a ground, a floor. So Terje already brought like some plastic layer that you can put here. Just to be sure, I also put actually my tent in here, because this has a quite high, and in German it's called water column. I don't know if this is the proper name in English. So it should keep dry. I have another part of tent here in case I get down with my elbow. Then a mattress, an inflatable one to lay down, and I'm in my sleeping bag. And I actually think I will close at least one of the windows now. I will get back to you afterwards with some photography related tips. But I want to stay dry since it's still 11 hours in the tent. So I've been taking photos and videos for, I think, only half an hour, but already so many cool encounters. They are very active, the great snipes. And I mostly shot with the 600mm f4, just trying to get a rather dark background because then we can really see the rain in the background. And right now it's so windy that the rain is going sideways. And I think this gives a really cool atmosphere. It shows this rough habitat that we have up here. It has a bit of downside that I'm really getting wet, so I'm using now my tent to cover my sleeping bag so that this one doesn't get completely wet. And what I will try to do now is actually really close everything and take a few minutes just to go through the images, because the snipes, they will be active more or less the whole night. So I have enough time, and now I want to see if what I did so far actually worked. I tried to experiment with a bit longer shutter speeds, but not very long, but like 1/250th of a second, so that we can see the rain already as some lines, not dots anymore. And also we should see some wing movement, but I need to see, do I have enough images where the head is still sharp despite this longer shutter speed? Is the head sharp in the most interesting pose? Because there is some moments where the head of the snipe is almost steady, it doesn't move at all, and somewhere it's moving very quickly. So I need to check this. And I would also recommend you, if you have a similar situation where you know the action will continue for maybe hours, you already took some cool images, the light is not about to change drastically as far as I can tell, take a few moments and check the images and think about what you want to change in the next minutes or hours. The weather improved a bit and I didn't mind the rain, but the visibility was a bit an issue when I wanted to work more with the 100 to 300 and show the hills or mountains in the background. And this changed a bit now, and for a brief moment there was even like a bright like a line on the horizon. Unfortunately not really orangey yet because it was still too early in the evening, but maybe this will still happen a bit later. But right now the activity of the snipes really went down. You can really notice it. So that's why I'm laying here. I will just take a break now. It's also getting a bit darker. I noticed that I needed to push the ISO a bit more. So with a 250th of a second and the aperture wide open, I was at around 4000 ISO. I suspect this will get much darker later, but to be honest, I don't worry too much about it. Nowadays we have these denoising tools. Lightroom has one integrated. There is the Topaz Photo AI, and I personally prefer the DxO Pure Raw 5. And if you want to get 15% off, I linked the code down below. So I will now eat something, drink something, recharge my own batteries and swap the batteries in the cameras, because the one of the R5 is already getting a bit too low. I brought all the cameras that I have. I charged them when I was driving here in the car, and I also have a small power bank that should give me, well, at least one extra charge of the R5 battery, or maybe I will also need it on my phone, depends on the snipe activity, but yeah, I will do that now. As mentioned earlier, it doesn't get completely dark at this time of year here in this part of Norway, but the sun is still setting for a few hours, but it stays very low below or very close below the horizon. So it's not getting dark, but you get a bit more this blue hour look, like with these bluish colors. And what I tried then was to capture that a bit, so go more for some silhouettes. I used the 100 to 300 for this, that I could be a bit more flexible with how much of the surroundings I wanted to include. And in these situations, what I like to do is keep the white balance on manual, just that this look gets a bit more, that you see this better in the image, and that the camera, the automatic, white balance is not working against you. From my experience, just keeping it at daylight actually works quite well. I put it with the Kelvin, I think, depending on the situation, between 4,900 and 5,200 Kelvin during this time. But of course, if you shoot in RAW, it's not so important. You can always change this later. I was actually changing the camera now. As I mentioned, used the 100 to 300 and I stopped using the 600mm f4 just because the light was really kind of fading, and then the classical shots where you want to show the details of the bird, they don't look as nice anymore. So I decided to put the 100 to 300mm f2.8 on the R1 just because the R1 gives me the better high ISO performance. I really felt lately that the autofocus is also better in some situations, and here I had no trouble at all with the R1. And the viewfinder is so much nicer and bigger, and this makes it somehow also easier for me for the composition. And now actually it already got a bit brighter again. I fell asleep a few times in between and always woke up to check how the weather is developing. Now it's 3:45 in the morning. Yeah, the sun is officially up again, and you can see that the mood is different. It's not as bluish anymore outside, it's brighter. There is still one or two active outside of the tent, so I will try now to take some more pictures with the 100 to 300 because now more fog rolled in, and maybe this also gives some very nice moody images. I will, however, end this video at this point. It was an amazing experience here in these heights from Perrier, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done already, and then see you in the next video.